its competitors out of the water by creating the best super sports car the world has. Ambitious goal yet. It's time for Lamborghini to flex its muscles once again. But this will be no simple reworking of Lamborghini's old flagship models. Its engineers and designers are given the task of starting with a completely clean slate. And at its to its limits to fulfill those expectations, constructing the Aventador's unique carbon fiber body. Which, being just 147.5 kilograms, helps make the Aventador significantly lighter than the Murcielago, considerably improving the all-important power-to-weight ratio, and in turn, the handling. As demonstrated by its approach to the area it believes will define the future of sports car engineering: lightweight carbon fiber construction. Sculpting the Aventador's super lightweight monocoque. Here, 146 carbon fiber specialists toil day and night to create 4 complete monocoques every 24 hours. To achieve this target, engineers have developed a unique production system. All materials are first cut by an automated machine before being sent for preparation. The material is placed into molds and laminated in a vacuum bagging process which forces the layers into shape, before being cured in a large pressurized oven known as an autoclave. Meanwhile, the production of other parts of the monocoque is underway, as operators fine-tune and cut more layers of carbon fiber with the assistance of precision lasers. A special oven is used to inject resin into the carbon fiber mats, which transforms them from soft sheets of cloth-like material to a strong, rigid structure. After all these processes are over, the 2 key sections are finally recognizable: the base section, known as the top, and the roof. They're placed in an automated machine, which drills them with holes allowing for attachments to be made later. Throughout the factory, computer-controlled machines share tasks with human specialists, a partnership that's integral to the Lamborghini production process.
The main priority of our plant was to follow the Lamborghini production system. So, with a high degree of craftsmanship, high degree of skill, people, combined with a technology, with automatization process. This was the main challenge that you can also see in our plant.
Aeronautic-inspired engineering is ingrained in many aspects of the Lamborghini CFK production process, such as this stage, known as the Harmony Hammer Test. In this quality control test, an operator strikes the monocoque section with a specially designed hammer and allows it to vibrate, listening out for areas where air might be trapped in the carbon fiber shell. Once checked, the parts are ready for their union as the tub and roof are glued together, turning the monocoque into a single entity. It's essential that the 2 parts of the monocoque are exactly aligned. So workers use a robotic arm with a 3D laser attachment to check that the sections have been coupled correctly. Once the correct dimensions are confirmed, metal sections are manually attached to the monocoque and the body is complete. Then it's into a light tunnel where surfaces are quality checked to ensure they're in pristine condition before the Aventador's body is signed off for release. As the body is ready to leave the carbon fibre plant, it's possible for the first time to see the Aventador's unique geometry taking shape. This extreme design is one of the most recognisable aspects of the Lamborghini DNA. After the CFK, it's taken away to be given one of its most important characteristics: its colour. Here at the paint shop, it's lavished with the kind of attention that most cars could only dream of. One of 13 colours are hand-sprayed over every part of the bodywork. 27 pieces are given individual attention by a specialist, who covers them with 8 litres of paint. The Aventador, with its extreme lines, requires more man-hours than any other Lamborghini in the past. And of course, every phase is carried out manually, as only human analysis and dexterity can ensure that each surface is covered with exactly the right amount of paint. In total, 200 man-hours are spent on every single Aventador while at the paint shop. 3 whole days are spent on polishing alone. After being carefully sanded, the Aventador is repeatedly buffed with special materials. After that, it's sent for another quality check in a light tunnel. For 2 hours, an inspector walks around the bodywork, checking for colour perfection. If there's any inconsistency, the offending section will be sent back to be repainted. Under-polished areas are also marked out for extra attention. These hundreds of hours of devotion end when the exacting standards of the inspector are met, and the car is released for the next phase of production, the assembly line. The assembly line for the Aventador lies just meters from the original site of the Lamborghini factory, built almost half a century ago. Mechanic as being key to the success of the product, and that attitude still permeates the site today. Here, 50 workers spread over 11 workstations are responsible for the task of assembling Lamborghini's latest model. Machines dominate production in almost every field of manufacturing. Loyalty to the art of skilled manual labour is not often seen. But here it's believed that when it comes to reliability and precision, humans still have the edge over machines. And nowhere more so than in the engine assembly station. For this is where the heart of the Aventador is put together. The Lamborghini V12. At a time when many sports car manufacturers are shying away from using the 12-cylinder engine, Lamborghini is resolute. The V12 always has and always will provide the power for their flagship models. With 6.5 litres of displacement and 700 horsepower, the Aventador's V12 is about as gutsy as it gets. But as with everything else, it's had to move with the times. Lightweight, again, is the order of the day. And despite the fact that this engine is more powerful than the Murcielagos, it weighs less, just 235 kilograms, by using aluminium silicon alloy on components such as the crankcase. The main purpose of the V12 is to power the Aventador. But when linked with the car's exhaust system, it takes on another significant role. Creator of the mighty Lamborghini Orchestra. While the V12 is being assembled, the body of the Aventador arrives on the assembly line, ready for conversion from an empty shell into a fully functioning supercar. As the company's latest foray in a highly competitive market, the Aventador needs a production process with efficiency to match.
Number one, in terms of product, in terms of performance, but also in terms of quality. So to become and to stay at the #1, we have always to have a huge increase of efficiency, a huge increase of quality in the assembly line and in all the process inside the factory.
The company's output of luxury vehicles is a mere fraction of what the large-scale manufacturers produce for the mass market, with around 800 Aventadors due to be created in the first year. But that doesn't mean the factory can't be run to similarly exacting standards of efficiency as the largest groups. And that means that workers have just 1 hour and 40 minutes to carry out a whole range of highly meticulous tasks. If they take too long, the whole assembly line will stall, targets will be missed, and costs will mount up. The countdown starts here at the first station. Work is carried out on the underbody and front differential by lifting and rotating the vehicle to give the mechanics easy access. Before being readied for what is arguably the most significant stage in the Aventador's production, the insertion of the colossal V12 powertrain into the car chassis.
Here we are in the most critical assembly station of the Aventador assembly line. Here we have the assembly of the engine, the heart of the car, basically inside the body white. We call it the marriage between the car and engine.
This marriage of elements is when the development team's work of the past 4 years comes together, where design and engineering combine. Here, as with all other phases of production, the specialists of each station take full responsibility for their section. Step by step, the car is taking shape, being moulded from empty shell into the fully formed supercar that will leave the factory. And while the assembly line is in full flow, next door, the second critical aspect of the Aventador is being prepared: the interior. It's in this sector of the factory that a customer's individual preferences for the way their car looks can really be indulged. About 100 square meters of leather hide in 9 different colors arrives each day. Attention to detail is essential to pass the stringent quality control checks. Here, a leather specialist looks for minor imperfections in the hides and marks them up wherever found. An automated machine recognizes the marks and cuts around imperfections, leaving only pristine material for the Aventador's interior. The leather is then taken to specialists with 3 years training to be stitched and glued onto the various parts that make up the Aventador's interior. Back on the assembly line, one of the Aventador's most important pieces of kit is ready. This simple-looking item is the suspension, but its apparent simplicity belies the creativity that goes into its engineering. The Aventador uses a pushrod suspension system direct from the world of Formula One race cars. It works by keeping wheel control and damper elements separate. By keeping the damper elements inboard, the pushrod system allows the wheels to maintain maximum the Lamborghini patented independent shifting rod transmission. This technology allows the shifting process to run virtually in parallel. While one shifting rod is disengaging one gear, the second shifting rod can already engage the next gear, creating a shifting time of just 50 milliseconds. Not far off from Formula One transmission times, which average around 30 milliseconds. Such technological innovations are only made possible by extensive testing of the vehicle during the development phase. And possibly the most critical moment for the engineers is when the prototype model takes to the track to be put through its paces for the first time. For the Aventador, this happens back in 2008. The man behind the wheel of that prototype Aventador was Lamborghini's chief test driver, Giorgio Sanna. He's been a key member of the Lamborghini development team since 2001. A dream job for many, but the thrill of driving prototype supercars comes with certain pressures.